Hello, everyone. My name is David Mugisha, and I'm with.
Baba's Elizabeth Shirley, and we are here to present our few findings, beginner findings on machine learning.
Yes, so in a nutshell, we are looking at the domain, which is security, and by security, we are not talking about uh, in cyber security, but rather law enforcement or crime prevention. And our presentation is mainly going to focus on crime prevention, and our project will be titled CrimeWatch. So let's go to the next slide. Yeah, so in a nutshell, CrimeWatch is a platform that is going to focus on prevention of crime, mainly prevention of crime, and alerting users when they are in high-risk areas. So the major focus of us is of this platform is to do crime prevention rather than forensics. And not only that, but we also look at we also look at tracking and identification of lost property, and this includes not only electronics like TV, radio, fridges, but also non-electronic items like IDs. So the problem that we identified that we want to solve is on the next slide. Let me just. So this is a problem that we are trying to solve. When you look at Uganda, in 1992, we had around 18 million people, and right now by 2022, Uganda has close to 50 million people. And this is based on the United Nations data. If you look at that growth and population, obviously any growth in population comes with increased crime. When you look at the police report, it comes with increased crime, and not only that, but then it becomes even harder for you to monitor people or look at to curb down criminals. Yeah, so that's why we are looking at bringing or using machine learning to try and mitigate crime. One, by identifying high-risk areas, and not only that, to also help people, because our platform will mainly focus on helping the end user, the people, the victims of these crimes. Yeah, imagine when you are in a high-risk area that maybe phones are snatched. So in that area, when you are driving through, and we can use machine learning to identify those areas and warn people that maybe you have your phone out, but in this area there are a number of phone thefts that have been recorded or that have been identified. So in a nutshell, that is what we are looking at. Let's go to the next slide. So these are the existing solutions. I'll talk about one. So for the existing solutions that we found out, a few papers that we did research about. One is in India, Mumbai, that looks at crime prevention using machine learning. So the solution is mainly going to help law enforcement to identify high crime hotspots and determine deployment targets. So if there's a high risk area, yeah, and maybe in this area a lot of crime is happening, there's so many, maybe phone theft, not only phone theft, it could be petty crimes or felonies, yeah. This system would help police to predict, depending on previous happenings. It would help police to do deployments depending on how the area is a hotspot. And the machine learning model that is used here, they are taking on decision trees and then doing classifications and regression. I think in law enforcement, there's a theory that is called the broken window theory. Do you remember that? Yeah, so what that shows is that they look at the current, that they predict crime depending on the previous crime. So the assumption is that if there was a crime happening in that area, there's a possibility of it happening again in the same area. So that's the broken window theory. These are one of the existing solutions we saw. Can you talk about any other?
Okay, so the second existing solution was we found out it was in Taiwan, Japan, and it's also similar to the first one in Mumbai in a way that they also use the broken window theory, the spatial analysis to identify the places that they call the hotspot places that are majorly with crime. So they used machine learning to be able to identify the different patterns and also know how much police deployment or how many police members that need to be deployed in a particular area to be able to curb the crime in that area. Can go to the next slide. So we identified the research gaps, and one of them is that it's the solutions we identified. They're basically assisting the law enforcement. So in this case, it doesn't go down to the victim to whom the problem happened. Well, whereas they're also trying to curb crime or prevent crime before it happens, because they show that in this area that it's a hotspot for crime. But if the application we want to develop or the platform that we want to develop with machine learning is given to the person, the individuals, then this is better prevention in crime, because someone can be warned earlier before even the police arrives to handle a situation. Then also the second one is the region. Since we are working in Uganda, and these ones that we identified are in Japan and India, they have a higher development. Their technology is higher than ours, and also that may be a defect. It may not work. Our solution may not work as much as we expect it to work because of maybe limitations to infrastructure, but yeah, we hope to do that.
Yeah, so these are sort of questions that we need to address and one of them is mainly, the first one is that what is the relationship between the residential area? We are basically looking at the income. How is income related to crime? Is high income areas, do high income areas have low criminal rates? That's the first thing that we are going to look at. The second one is, what is the relationship between the population and the criminal rate? So a densely populated area with higher criminal rates or else otherwise. So those are some of the questions that we are going to look at that may be addressed by machine learning. So we look at the data sets. There are mainly 3 data sets that we may use. One is from Canada. We look at crimes in Canada. Then we have another crime data set from Boston. And then we will mainly look at the police report of Uganda. Yeah. So these are the problems that we see that we may face. One of them is the absence of good quality data. So you realize that the data sets that we have mainly work for outside countries. It doesn't mean, it may not necessarily apply to a geographical location that we want to use, which is Uganda. And the police report data is not that much organized. Yeah, we need to reformat it and have it clean it and prepare it for machine learning. So those are some of the challenges that we are going to face. Because of time, let's look at the supervised learning techniques that we are going to use. One of them is naive bias, and we have the linear regression, then we have the logical regressions. These are some of the supervised learning techniques that we are going to use.